Hi folks, I'm Steve Hindi with Showing Animals Respect and Kindness. Shark has hundreds of rodeo videos on YouTube that expose rodeo cruelty, cowardice, and corruption. Often we expose rodeo spin doctors who try to make excuses for rodeo cruelty. Mandy Lindquist is the spin doctor for the California Rodeo at Salinas, California. The Salinas Rodeo is sanctioned by the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and it has its own spin doctor. Her name is Cindy Schoenholtz. Cindy Schoenholtz might be called the spin doctor-in-chief, as she makes excuses for rodeo cruelty throughout the hundreds of rodeos sanctioned by the association annually, including Salinas. I think that what Cindy Schoenholtz does for a living is disgusting, and I frankly can't imagine how she looks herself in a mirror. What makes today's video so strange is that this time Cindy Schoenholtz is the hero, at least sort of. Our story stems from Shark's footage of animal injuries in 2013 and 2014 at the Salinas Rodeo. California has a law that injured rodeo animals requiring veterinary treatment must be reported to the California Veterinary Medical Board. The rodeo claimed a total of just 4 injuries for 2013 and 2014, while Shark cameras video documented 42 injuries, more than a 10-fold difference. In 2014, the Animal Legal Defense Fund and the law firm of Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher sued the rodeo on behalf of Shark. As part of that lawsuit, the rodeo had to provide us with certain documents, and these included emails from parties involved in the rodeo. Those emails proved that people from both the Salinas Rodeo and the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association are well aware of the injuries we documented. They even have a name for the most prominent injury. They call them stingers. As you will see, the rodeo people know why stingers happen, and they know how the number of stinger injuries can be reduced. Our story starts with an email sent by Salinas Rodeo vet Tim Eastman to Rodeo Salinas spin doctor Mandy Lindquist on September 9, 2014. And I think we really need to address the stinger issue. Hindi and Mills are onto it. There is discussion of the longer score we have here and the perception that we seem to have a lot more of these stingers than other rodeos. There was no perception. Salinas has far more injuries than the average rodeo, and that fact is video documented. I am the Hindi referenced by the veterinarian, and Mills is Eric Mills, a California activist who saw the footage and was good enough to add his voice to the debate. The score Eastman references is the distance an animal runs before being roped. The Salinas Rodeo has a very large arena, and therefore the animals are able to build up to top speed before they're roped. The long score at the Salinas Rodeo was identified by Shark as an issue long ago, and not just in steer roping, as you can see in this instance of steer wrestling. Obviously, a high-speed crash will include more damage and worse injuries than a relative fender bender. This steer paid for Salinas' long score with his life. Returning to the email, and I think we really need to address the stinger issue. Hindi and Mills are onto it. Think about that. Hindi and Mills are onto it. This is evidence directly within the rodeo, acknowledging that they have an injury issue, and it's clear that their concern is not really the injuries to the animals, but rather how to spin it from a public relations standpoint. A little later, spin doctor Mandy Lindquist responds with, "I think it is good that Tim reported the one steer he did, because we can argue that if the steers continue to limp or look unsound, that they're indeed given treatment or examined." As with Dr. Eastman, Ms. Lindquist is not concerned about the animal injuries, but rather how to spin them. We can argue that if the steers continue to limp, look unsound, that they are indeed given treatment or examined. Rather than to stop the abuse, rodeo just tries to make it look like it's okay. Later the same day, Cindy Schoenholtz, who is usually the bad guy, but in this video is the good guy, sort of, wrote emails to California Rodeo spin doctor Mandy Lindquist spelling out the issue. I talked to Jeff Davis last night, and he thinks it is because the same group of steers gets roped every day because of the number of rounds you have. And I guess we really need to maybe have more steers so they don't try ropes every day, but that will be spendy. Ms. Schoenholz lays out in clear and simple terms that the animals are being overused and that the fix, more steers, would cost money. Later the same day, Mandy Lindquist sent this to Cindy Schoenholz and Bob Fox. Team roping and our long score are revered traditions here at Salinas. It makes me nervous that that is what the AR people are attacking now. How far a steer runs before he is roped on a dirt lot is a revered tradition? Good grief! So contrary to rodeo propaganda, the welfare of the animals is not their first concern, as the rodeo always claims, but rather the revered traditions here at Salinas and the money it would cost for more steers. I guess that means that the welfare of the animals comes in third, at best. Now, let's move to a June 4, 2015 email from PRCA spin doctor Cindy Schoenholz to Salinas spin doctor Mandy Lindquist. I would absolutely encourage leadership at the California Rodeo to look into the reason for the amount of stingers at your event and how to prevent that in the future. This was a suggestion of mine last year. We had that discussion last year regarding the number of rounds on the steers and the number of go-rounds. So, 8 months after discussions about the need for a shorter score and more animals, the rodeo has done absolutely nothing, while continuing to falsely claim that animal welfare is a top priority. To this day, in late 2016, we have no indication whatsoever that the rodeo added steers and they haven't shortened the score to lessen the speed of the animals. The issue of injuries at the Salinas Rodeo is so severe that Cindy Schoenholz, the person who for decades has made excuses for rodeo cruelty, is actually arguing in support of the animals, if only to try to protect the illusion that rodeo cares about its animals. Congratulations, Ms. Schoenholz. You stood up for the animals for all the wrong reasons, but still, you were actually on the right side for a change. Treasure this rare and precious moment. Perhaps the best proof of the indifference the Salinas Rodeo's management has for the high number of animal injuries is to be found in the deposition of Salinas Rodeo President Darrell Witcher, when he was asked, "Do you remember a time when the board of directors discussed the animal injuries at the Salinas Rodeo in their annual report?" His answer, no. No. Rodeo claims to care about its animals, but that's a lie. The facts and their own emails tell a very different story. Last July, just prior to the 2016 rodeo at Salinas, Shark held a press conference and invited the rodeo people to come and have their say. We invited 7 people, including rodeo vet Tim Eastman and rodeo spin doctor Mandy Lindquist and PRCA spin doctor Cindy Schoenholz. Not one of them showed up. Not even one. Claims of preserving Western culture and heritage are just the hooks the rodeo mafia uses for heartless attendees and unethical corporate sponsors. These victims can't ask for help or file a complaint or a lawsuit when they are broken or dying. We have to be their voice. To silence our voice, or at least our ability to prove our claims, the Salinas Rodeo has now banned cameras. But just the cameras of anyone who they consider to be animal protectors, mainly shark investigators.
There's no professional videoing or photography for their events.
So that's not true. That's not true.
They're not professional.
And that's not true about the PRCA either.
Okay, well, I'm just asking you if you could refrain from videoing, please.
This is the cowardice of rodeo. Real Americans are so much better than this. If you care about animals, please don't go to rodeos, and please don't do business with unethical rodeo corporate sponsors such as Coca-Cola, Safeway Foods, the Home Depot, Wells Fargo, and Fresh Express. You can find more information on careless corporate rodeo sponsors at corporatethugs.com. I'm Steve Hindy for Showing Animals Respect and Kindness.